In ancient Hawaii, on the Big Island, the descendant of Hawaii's wind goddess, Pa'aka'a, was reunited with his father, the Ali'i's kahu, or chamberlain, known as the Ali'i's backbone. When Pa'aka'a's father passed, he became the new Ali'i's backbone, but drew the ire of 2 navigators. So continues your next installment of Hawaii's Wind Guardians, the new Ali'i's backbone. And this is Legends from the Pacific. Aloha, and thank you for joining us. This is your podcast about Asian and Pacific Islander folklore and cultural history, Legends from the Pacific. Welcome to the long-awaited episode 157, Hawaii's Wind Guardians, the new Ali'i's backbone. Like I said, this is one of the longest stories I've researched, which caused a backlog of new episodes, but thank you so very much for your patience, understanding, and continued support of our show during the delay of new episodes. I am Kamuela Kaneshiro, a native Hawaiian professional writer, speaker, and Comic-Con panelist with extensive film and television experience. I study mythology, I've encountered unusual things, and I'm a geek.
In the beginning, there was the Pacific Ocean. A canoe broke the horizon, piloted by Pele, a beautiful Polynesian maiden who dominated the waves until she felt safe to stop.
The audiobook of our Legends from the Pacific Book 1 is now available, narrated by multi-award-winning voice actress Emily Wu Zeller. Just click the link in our show notes to purchase our audiobook and enjoy Emily telling our stories today. Mahalo nui loa to our Legends from the Pacific Patreon members who enjoyed episode 0 of the Hawaii Wind Guardians saga, then its following episodes all at once. B. Money, Kawai, Perry, Chris, Abram, Xander, Jaden, Thistle, Christy, Charlene, Will and Ollie Geis, Christopher, Meg, Jessica Bullock, Edward Pueohenki, Felisa H., and the Makuli Guy. Thank you all so very much for your continued support. Dear listener, please consider becoming a Legends from the Pacific Patreon member to enjoy many benefits, including the full version of this story, and support our mission of spreading Asian and Pacific Islander cultural awareness. As usual, I apologize for any mispronounced names or words and appreciate your understanding. Because who would have known talking positively about cultures, sharing it with others, and even writing about it would upset people? Especially since there's different spellings for words like Pa'aka'a, who is our protagonist. But people still have the need to give our show a bad rating and review. If you appreciate our show, please give us a positive rating and review. I'd really appreciate it. Now, the next installment of your epic. While Pa'aka'a was the new Ali'i's backbone, 2 navigators plotted against him. Though Pa'aka'a's wind gourd made him an unmatched navigator, his rivals were skilled manipulators who convinced the Ali'i to reduce Pa'aka'a's role in the Ali'i's court. Once they were granted Pa'aka'a's wealth and possessions, the duo tried killing the Ali'i's backbone. Their attempt failed. Pa'aka'a gathered his remaining things and consulted the Ali'i's oldest and wisest kahuna on where he'd be safe. The kahuna's eyes glowed. The Ali'i's backbone honors me. The only safe place for you is Molokai. Molokai will cloak you from those who seek you. Pa'aka'a thanked the kahuna and offered payment. The kahuna's eyes dimmed as he looked away. My payment is you leaving. Aloha, Ali'i's backbone. Pa'aka'a thanked the kahuna again, boarded a canoe, opened his wind gourd, and chanted a mele. Chilled winds from Mauna Kea and sulfuric winds from Kilauea combined to create a Kona wind. Heartbreak and disappointment pulled tears from him as he departed the Big Island, passed Maui, and settled on Molokai's southeast side. Pa'aka'a calmed himself, but found one of the Ali'i's kapa cloths. Betrayal and frustration tore at Pa'aka'a, but he couldn't destroy the fabric. He adapted to his new life and impressed one of Molokai' most beautiful women. They married and had a son, Pa'aka'a, named Kua Pa'aka'a. Pa'aka'a taught Kua fishing and navigation, then showed him their family's wind gourd and taught him the melee of winds. Word spread through the Hawaiian Islands that 2 navigators controlled the big island of Li'inui's court. The navigators were also his personal retainers and neglected their master. Pa'aka'a smiled. The Ali'i got what he deserves, but this news can be exaggerated. Pa'aka'a said goodnight to his family and went to sleep. He opened his eyes in his childhood home on Kaua'i, walked through his mother and uncle's village to the shoreline. Sand tickled his toes, salt air filled his lungs, and the waves roared as he gazed at Kaua'i's smaller coastal island, Ka'ula. "Pa'aka'a, is that really you?" a man said. He faced the voice. The sun blinded Pa'aka'a. He shielded his eyes. A man approached. "Who are you?" Pa'aka'a said. The stranger was the big island of Li'inui. His toned physique was gone. His hair was gray, and bags weighed his red eyes. He fell to his knees. "Thank the gods you're alive. I've struggled finding you with my inexperienced kahunas." "But my ali'i," Pa'aka'a said. "You have the big island's best kahunas." "Had," the ali'i wiped away tears. "My oldest and wisest kahunas died after you left. My 2 retainers say it was from a sickness." Pa'aka'a gritted his teeth. The ali'i cried. "I've been mistreated. I don't sleep, and my court is in shambles. Please come back." Pa'aka'a crossed his arms. "Why should I? You hurt and mistreated me when all I've been was loyal to you. What would my father, who you admired, say about how you treated me?" The ali'i nodded. "You speak the truth. I apologize for failing to see my mistake sooner. I'm sorry for mistreating you. Please forgive me." Pa'aka'a raised an eyebrow. "I'm happy where I am. Besides, this could just be a dream." The ali'i stood. "This is real. Can't you feel it? My kahunas have been putting me in nightly trances to locate you." The ali'i faced the mountains. "This isn't my big island. Where are we?" "Kaua'i," Pa'aka'a said. "Of course." The ali'i pointed to the offshore island. "And that?" "That island is Ka'ula." The ali'i smiled. "Yes, this all makes sense. You went back home and are here, or Ka'ula." "Pa'aka'a, my dear friend, I assembled a fleet to show you how much I've missed you. Hopefully this will sway your return to the big island." The ali'i marched to the sea, where a fleet of canoes filled the ocean. Pa'aka'a's jaw dropped. The armada was greater than the one he was part of when Kaua'i's Li'inui visited the other islands. "Wait," Pa'aka'a said. "Stop! I'm not here!" The ali'i vanished. Pa'aka'a sat up from his mat. "I'm not on Kaua'i!" His wife and son came to his side, asking if he was all right. He calmed them, rubbed his face, and told him about growing up on Kaua'i, going to the big island, meeting his father, becoming the ali'i's backbone, and the mistreatment that brought him to Molokai. "Why did you wake up yelling?" his wife said. Pa'aka'a sighed. "Because the ali'i is going to Ka'ula with the murderous navigators." Unfortunately, that's all for this episode. Trust me, this is a good spot to take a break. Now, here's your story notes. As you, our astute listener, may have noted, I've mentioned this story has characters with similar names. Our first case was La'amaumau, which was the name of Hawaii's wind goddess and Pa'aka'a's mother. Then this episode had Pa'aka'a's son, Kua Pa'aka'a, or Kua, who was named after Pa'aka'a's father, Kua Anu Anu. I limited mentioning Kua Anu Anu to avoid confusion. It should also be noted that in some versions of this story, when the Big Island's Li'inui decided to make a fleet to win back Pa'aka'a, Pa'aka'a's ancestors became birds, who disrupted the ali'i's progress. The point of this was the ancestral birds caused the disruption to prove the ali'i's devotion to bringing back Pa'aka'a, since the ali'i would have given up if his intentions weren't true. The ali'i then hired an expert bird hunter to deal with the birds. I omitted this since this made our story longer, and Pa'aka'a never learned of it, so really it doesn't progress our story. aside from showing the passage of time which allowed Pa'aka'a to make a family. This part was also omitted for other story elemental reasons, which I won't really get into since this isn't a podcast about writing. Anywho, this installment really made me feel for Pa'aka'a, since I'm sure a lot of us experienced the rejection of being overlooked for others, or worse, felt the sting of heartbreak and disappointment from a close friend, family, heck, maybe even from a higher up at our job. And if these memories are still plaguing you, or if you're currently going through it, please remember that I know you'll get through it, because our show is listened to the best people around, and you are one of them. Thank you very much for listening and doing what you can to support our show and its mission of spreading Asian and Pacific Islander folklore and cultural history. I'll see you next week for your next installment. Same Legends from the Pacific time, same Legends from the Pacific channel. Mahalo and a hui ho.